Perfect. So today we're going to carry on what we started on Monday. I'm sorry I forgot to send you a bit much more detailed documentation, which I'm going to do it tonight. So let's start with the nutrient cycle, which is quite short. So here we are. Everybody knows this poster of the coffee Arabica and all the things a tree needs to be happy. So first things, obviously, good carrying of the nitrate, phosphate, and potassium, what we call also, okay? All the minerals that are going to be also the introduction of roots, because the coffee just going just to be, okay? Sorry, I'm just putting so that it will not water, obviously, and the coffee needs to have some sun. Full sun, shaded. Well, that is something we're going to talk about it later, also now today. And let me see if it's shaded. No. So let's talk a little bit about it because it's on the pro and I forgot to put it on the intermediate. Don't worry, it's not in the question anyway. Well, coffee needs at least 40% of light during daytime, maximum 60%. So now you know when it has a good shade, the coffee tree is happy. However, if you want to on steroid, and it will need to have rest from time to time. But also a thing is when it's full sun, because the coffee is constantly producing, it is producing way more rapidly. Replace your tree way faster. The thing is, it does not stop you to have a. Will it be the best? Maybe not. But in case you sort in your coffee properly and you do a good fermentation, yes, why not? It does happen. And some people prefer shaded, some people prefer agroforestry. Others full coffee. Definitely, you're going to have a good cup, okay? Because associated is full of disease and a full sun and it was just needing coffee. So you need to take care of your coffee no matter what. Also understand the rooting system, all your trees. Here it shows the coffee Arabica, but a thing that it doesn't show because otherwise the poster will be way bigger is the length of the root. The taproot, which is this root here, can be up to 4 times the size of the tree. So the height of the tree, the natural height of the tree, because obviously we prune the tree in order to be much more manageable. Okay, so think about it. The taproot is extremely important. So the taproot is the one that's going to fix the tree. To have the secondary root, the one that's going to look for food everywhere, and the tertiary root looking for water and also new land for the other roots just to find food. Okay, they are the ones. Each of them have their particular task, a little bit like the bees. Okay, voila. Also understand that the minerals to develop acidity in the cup and the sugar going to be developed by the sun exposure. Okay, doesn't mean that yes, it does mean that tree lacking sun going to have develop way less sugar. Totally, totally. But it's not because you're doing complete agroforestry that you're going to have a sweetless coffee. Actually, when it's like this, people push enormously onto the fermentation to develop much more flavor, which are much more delicate. Compared to a full sun, everything just is like an explosion of sugar. Okay? So all this obviously affects the cup. So, well, we're just in the middle of weather challenge, so let's talk about it because it's very, very important. We have, for example, right now in Kenya, I do not know in Rwanda, but in Kenya right now, it's, it's like flooding every day. Massive rain everywhere, which we cannot really complain because we just have a terrible drought in Mara. And Masai Mara, it was every day elephant dying, giraffe dying, wild beast dying. It was really quite terrible. So the fact it's raining right now is pretty a blessing. So no one will complain about the fact there's too much rain. What we have, the problem we have is complete drought, then flooding, because the soil is so dry, it just cannot absorb the water. And what you have the soil just sliding, you have landslide, which can be the loss of your field because everything is collapsing. And also what you have all those different kind of really misshaped weather at the wrong time. Example, the frost last year in Brazil. Okay, uh, there was a massive issue with this that raised automatically the um, the price of the coffee because obviously there was less coffee on the market, and we're going to talk about this later. And it was quite devastating for Brazil. Overnight, you losing everything. It's dreadful. But not only Brazil, but it's all the company, all the. Hang on a minute. Did you?
I was gonna ask you, now that we have like a lot of rain, like in Rwanda, we're experiencing a lot of flooding. Could
Yeah.
leaf rust also be one of the reasons, like one of the consequences? Like,
Yes. We have a massive problem with the coffee leaf rust. And the thing with the leaf rust, let me come back to this. Well, what leaf rust being a fungus, what a fungus needs, it needs shade, like the coffee tree, and it needs humidity. When you combine both, you have the recipe for disaster. So automatically, lots of rain going to the enhance a spread of coffee leaf rust. So that's not expect coffee leaf rust. And I was when I saw you on Monday, so I was in Kisi at that time. So we went to a friend of mine in the height of Kisi, so it's quite high. And there we discover, I saw in one of the trees some leaf rust, and absolutely very manageable. But I told him just to be careful. So what we're going to do, that he's going to do, is put some Riru, because Riru, coffee leaf rust do not like Riru stuff, and that slow down the spread of your leaf rust. Okay. So there's things like this you can do. Also, you can do like animal urine, like the goat's urine, which is quite good. There's also worm, those little, those actually big Californian worm and Chinese red worm. very good. The urine is extremely good to delay the leaf rot. So there's different kind of things you can do to manage the leaf rot. Leaf rot doesn't mean automatically bad coffee or the loss of your field. It's something that can be manageable. It's easy to say, it's not easy to do because you're dealing with a fungus. And the thing with fungus, you think they're not there, but they're just doing their business inside and when they come back with a revenge. So that's the big problem with the coffee leaf rot. When you use the copper treatment, which really treats coffee leaf rot, and even if you have an organic certification, you can still use it because people understand that coffee is extremely sensitive and it's extremely hard to do 100% organic, and sometimes you need to use some medicine to take care of some disease. When you have the coffee leaf rot and you need to put your treatment monthly, or sometimes depends on the amount of copper you're using, it's monthly or every 2 months, and it's around like a year to a year and a half. Do the solution completely till the end. And the reason is really simple. It's not because you stop to see the rust that it stops. No, you need to really go into the plant to make sure that the rooting system of the fungus is dead. Because trust me, it will come back, and it will come back with a revenge when you do not expect it. Okay?
I think that's
So
what
yes,
most farmers have been experiencing in Rwanda as well. It's like they've been trying to eradicate this leaf rust, but eventually, like not really being able to remove it all.
yes, it
But
comes
they
back.
still get cherries. But at the
Hmm.
same time, they've said that it has decreased the capacity, like the yield capacity of the tree.
Hmm.
But at the same time, also like I wonder if these chemical pesticide or chemical treatment, they don't also like bring other issues for the coffee. I don't
Hmm.
know. I'm just curious.
So yes, that is an issue that happened. I mean, I have two friends actually, and both of them, and you see their land I mean, it's cover of coffee leaf rust, rid of coffee leaf rust. But because they have windbreakers, windbreaker trees, and coffee leaf rust is airborne, so it just flies to the air. So those windbreakers just technically slow down the progression of coffee leaf rust. So, and the result is both of them have absolutely amazing, delicious coffee. So the thing is, you need to really control because it's very hard to get rid of it. It's a fungus. Fungus can take years to go, and very often they just don't. They just dormant inside. So you really need how to control it because if you let it completely taking over your land, well, you may as well throw away everything. And also, you need to be careful with this powdery thing. So when coffee leaf rust comes, you go into a place and there's a lot of coffee leaf rust, and after you have the fungus onto your clothes, then you go into another space, and with the fungus on your clothes, you spreading it everywhere. And we have a lot of that.
I never knew that. That's crazy.
They have their clothes on them, and they go to place on placing on place on place with the same clothes that as coffee leaf rust, and they spreading that coffee leaf rust everywhere. And it's the way coffee leaf rust has been spread. Not even the wind spreading it. Actually, it's people's clothes. So
Right.
a thing
Yeah.
is, yeah. So
That
when
makes
you have
sense.
coffee leaf rust, you need to put some kind of a thing I always have in the field. It's a big plastic Oh, sorry, I heard something. It's a big plastic, those big anorak. Because with the rain, you put some water on you, it's easy. It's just plastic. Funny. It's a big plastic thing, so you
Oh
can
my
rinse
god,
it when you
that's
leave.
so scary. Who's
Yes.
that?
Oh, no, 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 that is the. No, no, this is Mali. She's working in the coffee shop I have upstairs. And no, no, go, 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 go. You can go, Mali. Are you leaving? See you, Kesho. Okay.
Oh my
Sorry.
god, I thought it was somebody else. Sorry about that.
No, no, no. She always comes very slowly because she doesn't want to disturb me. And she always made me jump, and she didn't mean to. So, oh, it's okay. So, yes, it's a thing that I do. I always put plastic on me, like a big anorak, a long one, and a pair of boots. So, like this is easy to rinse. You just pour water, it's just plastic. So, the coffee leaf first does not go on you, it just slides. So, that is the first thing to avoid the spreading of coffee leaf rust. Also, when you prune your coffee, make sure that all the people who prune, they're going to have this raincoat on them and boots. And any branch that needs to be pruned, that have coffee leaf rust, prune them when they really rich on coffee leaf rust. Also, do the pruning of the branch full of coffee leaf rust after the rain, not before the rain. And the reason is really simple. When it's wet, they attach to the leaves, so they don't fly everywhere every time you move the branch. So you
Ah,
cut
okay.
it, yes, you cut it, but don't let them on the floor because it's going to keep on spreading. You need to cut it, put it in plastic, make a pile and burn them
Right.
because we need to really eradicate the fungus. So prune them and leave them on the floor while you've done nothing. You may as well leave the branch on the tree. And when you're doing it and you just have your plant closed, well, as you're doing it, you're spreading more. So the thing is just slowing down this cycle to avoid the spreading of the coffee leaf rust, which, as it is a fungus, is extremely hard to to eradicate. However, there's many techniques to slowing down and to manage your plant with the coffee rust. That's it. Any
Right.
question?
Yeah, right. No, I was always wondering because I think most farmers in Rwanda have never been able to like dealt with the leaf rust issue. And instead of like slowing down, it has actually been expanding um drastically. So I think it makes sense. It really makes me, it's helpful to understand that sometimes it's spread because of people. Actually, these
Yeah.
agronomists with only like a single cloth and going around every morning and every afternoon spraying over the trees, but they're also like expanding the problem. And I don't think
Yeah.
the issue is, I don't know, and I don't think they really understand that part. Or if they
Mhm.
do, is it because they just don't have enough resources to buy like those plastic things to cover themselves, like all those, like I'm my mind is running with all these sorts of questions. um
Mhm.
but it's been really one of the most challenging part in the farming here.
Yeah, yeah. It's a massive challenge. And the thing is, there is a problem because you have all those laboratory like Bayer, like all those kind of chemicals. They enforcing so much chemical on the plant because they know coffee is sensitive, so they enforcing so much. So for them, the solution put chemicals and it will die. Okay, which well, you're dealing with the fungus, it doesn't work like that. And an airborne fungus, so it will definitely not work like that. People have to understand what is the human error, what human is not doing right. Why, after putting all those chemicals, is still there and actually is breaking in places where there was never coffee leaf rust? Well, the leaf rust travel. So, of course, airborne, it's true, it's flying in the air, but sometimes the spread, where it's spreading is so wide. So you see, unless the coffee leaf rust is on steroid, how can it fly so far? Well, it flies so far because someone has the coffee leaf rust in their clothes, have a car, and go from field to field and just spreading it. And we all responsible of it without knowing it. And that is a really sad part. We are responsible and we don't even know that we actually are responsible. So now it's about us to take our own responsibility and but at least it's this. And when you don't put water on over you, done. And put water on your gumboots, done. So that is the things I learn how to do. Like sometimes, like for the picture, obviously you see me touching the plant, and after you rinse your finger. You need to take those things, rinse the bottle of water and rinse in your fingers because those hands going to spread it everywhere. And make sure not to touch the orange powder on the back of the leaf. This is the root of the fungus. And you see here is where the leaf is totally burnt, sensitive and burnt because the leaf is dying.
Right.
So
Yeah.
any sun just kills the leaf and the tree is going to, the branch actually going to start dying. So it's things we need to take in consideration, not put our hand all over and just spread on ourselves and say, oh, it's okay just for the Instagram picture. No, you technically killing someone's living. So it's time for all of us who going from farm to farm to understand our impact on those farms, and but also to help the farmer with simple technique how to make their coffee better. And I can tell you, just take a big bean liner and say you keep that bean liner for every time you go to your farm to clean around. And when you're done, you just put water all over it and it's clean. So that this you do not spread much more on your land. So you don't spend that much, all that money on chemicals because those chemicals are extremely expensive. People don't realize, but copper to clear the coffee leaf rust is very expensive. It's a massive cost on the farmer. So instead of having the farmers spending so much money in buying copper solution or copper ring to put on their trees, just helping them with a raincoat will be way cheaper and way much more, way much better for them and beneficial for them and way cheaper. So it's just simple that those all those techniques and good habits can really improve the coffee. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Any
Thank,
other questions?
thank you. No, thank you so much. It really helps me understand.
Yeah. We don't really, and the thing is, when you go in to see the farmer and just tell them the simple technique, you're going to see within, let's say, a year, because we're dealing with the fungus, you see the things going to slowly progress, go better. Is it going to eradicate the coffee leaf rust? Of course not. But it's going to slow it down and it's going to help the tree to recover. So it's
Yeah,
just all little
absolutely.
techniques that can really improve the coffee. Okay? And coffee leaf rust is just incredible. And the whole things I learned that simply a day Team Wildable uh, his farm is not far away from where my friend has a farm in Colombia, and he was he had a problem of coffee leaf rust. But the farm all around there for decades never, ever, ever had coffee leaf rust. And that's, they do not have coffee leaf rust because they're very, very. He comes, and the thing is, he was on his Instagram. He was going from farm to farm, and with his white shirt, like he always have. He always wears the same white shirt. He's like Superman, always wearing the same clothes. So he had this white shirt and pair of jeans, going from farm to farm, saying to people, yes, they have coffee leaf rust and whatsoever, whatsoever, and going into the car, going to place, coming back to his farm, and he noticed, couple of months later, how coffee leaf rust in his place. And he started documenting that on Instagram. And the first thing people told him around, and they say, well, you've been going to all those places with your beautiful white shirt, full of coffee leaf rust, and spreading the disease everywhere. And at the beginning, he
Wow,
was
that's
thinking,
crazy.
yeah, exactly. So he was saying, no, it's not his fault. The coffee leaf rust is an airborne and it's flying everywhere. But I said that means the coffee leaf rust is to fly all those kilometers. No, it's not possible. We have mountains, we have trees. People are very careful. We never had coffee leaf rust, and that is the first time this happened. As soon as you arrive doing your documentary on coffee leaf rust in a place where there is no coffee leaf rust. And he didn't believe that. You know, I don't want to be bad, but Nordic people always think they know better than the little indigenous from Africa, South Asia, and South America.
I know, I know.
And
That's the problem.
that's the problem. So he was told there's techniques telling him that he was just doing horrible things in Colombia. And an agronomist went all the way to his place, and he had this big agronomist from Norway because obviously in Colombia they don't know how to write or read, so they do not have agronomists. So he brought this big man from Norway who will prove everybody wrong and see how Tim Waldebo is right. And the first thing the guy said, just by looking at Tim Waldebo Instagram, and I say, I know where the coffee leaf first comes from. It comes from you. So that was great to see that you pay someone who come all the way from Norway to say that all those people here in Colombia were telling you where they were right, that it actually comes from you. So
Exactly. Because they don't
that
believe in what farmers do. I mean, what
exactly,
farmers say, they're like, you don't know nothing. We have to teach you your own thing. And like, no, these
exactly.
people, they leave farming for years. They're the experts in the field. You should listen to
Yeah,
them.
and it's exactly what the agronomist was saying. He said, I came all the way. And he put this on his Instagram. Obviously, Tim Waldebo removed it from his Instagram. But the agronomist put it on his Instagram. And he went several times in the producer forum and everything. And he said, it's really simple. You don't go around people's farm that is covered with fungus with your clothes and after go back in the car like nothing happened. No, the first thing you do is just you have to remove this because you are the carrier of that disease. So after you can't blame
Exactly.
everybody. Yeah. So that's the thing is it was really funny that Tim Waldebo removed everything from his Instagram, remove all the things he say about the coffee leaf first, everything. And the agronomist took everything and put it on his Instagram and say, yes, this is what happened. He didn't really tag Tim Waldebo, but everybody knew those pictures because people saw them for over a year and recognized it was about him he was talking. He didn't say, oh, Tim Waldebo is bad, but he said, a thing is, people have to stop going to people's country, people's farm, and start spreading disease like we're still in a colonial time. And after say, oh, well, they don't know it better because they say a, a day someone took me all the way from Norway to go to some place. He didn't say Colombia, but he already knew what he was saying, just to tell people that they were wrong when in fact they were totally. They say that is a lot of money just to try to ridiculous people. Yeah, and I really
Yes,
love that. I don't know. That's it.
yeah, I love him too. Like he's so real and
Yeah,
transparent. At least it's been a learning lesson to everyone.
yeah. It's been a learning lesson to everyone, and that is the thing. Is I've been saying just people are in the field 365 days a year, all their life. When they tell you something, it's for a reason. Listen. Don't go in their farm and say, do this, do this, do that, and after take the next one and leave. No. Try to
Exactly,
understand.
because you just
Tell them what.
came. That's exactly what
Exactly.
we have to make people understand. Like these people live the farming life. It's been their lives ever since they were kids, like it. And then you're telling them,
Exactly.
yes, they could be. And also, like, I just hate the fact that they have to be imposed on what to do, how to, in order for them to sell. You should come and actually, yes, we don't have that much science and technology in Africa, which is, yes, a problem, but like, you should collaborate with them and ask them from the experience and then build from them, like build together, because you can't just keep imposing.
Exactly. Talking still in a weather challenge and still in the fact you need to listen instead of they're saying blah 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 that was completely silly. A good experience that happened to me when I was in Tanzania. So that's the things I always say to people when I talk about farming, bananas don't go together. Banana swallows the water out of everything around because banana is a monocrop, a monoculture. And you put it next to the coffee, which is a pluriculture. Well, no, 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 no. The coffee suffers, the tree are totally, yeah, because they can't, because the banana is taking all the water it can. So this is a massive issue to have banana next to your coffee tree. And I was in Moshi in Tanzania, and I see all the farm full of banana tree. So I couldn't go over there and tell the farmer, no, people, they had agronomists, they had everything, and so I just asked them, and I say, yes, excuse me, but why do you have banana tree in your coffee farm? And he said, it's the first time someone asked me because people come here to ask me to remove them. And he said, in all those years, you're the first one who asked me why. And I was really surprised.
Imagine.
Yeah. He said, you're the first one to ask me why. And he said, well, it's really simple. In that region, it rains a lot. They say it's just massive landslide. The banana tree, because it absorbs all the water, it allows us to have a dry soil at all times. So we do not have landslide because
Wow,
the
that's amazing.
avocado tree give a good shade, but do not absorb enough water. So having all those banana trees help us not to have constantly sliding mud and the trees start falling. So that's why we have the banana tree. So the banana tree really help us for us. And what that was something totally new. I didn't know that. I never
Exactly.
even thought once
Imagine.
about it. And once they
Yeah.
told me this, I said, wow. And that is it. You need to deal with weather channel challenges. You're going to have a lot of rain. And every time people tell you to remove the banana trees because they're absolutely dreadful. However, in a region where it constant tree is a lifesaver because it keeps your soil watered. So that was a very interesting thing. And just the thing is, always the person who is constantly in the field, why are they doing this? And you learn,
Yeah, you
you
learn. At
learn.
least you learn from
For me,
them.
I
Yeah.
use banana
If we
trees
didn't have
as
art,
mulching.
they wouldn't.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So just, yeah, and it makes, banana tree is mulching. But I never thought that banana tree would be absorbing water to release it. And yes. And for example, I think the source that I saw when I was in Togo, I have an obsession for one tree, which is the baobab. And the baobab is not like a tree; it's actually like a cactus. It's a reserve of water. So that's why some trees attach to it because they. And in Togo, the place is covered with baobab. I never seen so many baobab. Baobab. There it was just everywhere. So they have beautiful robusta in Togo, and then you coffee field shaded by baobab. And because of the baobab, even during the dry season and when hot in Togo is just hot, it's like Mombasa. Well, the baobab raise the water, and all the trees around the baobab are always full of water. So they're going to put, for example, they're going to put like mulching in all the places, but all the trees by the baobab, those ones, they just eat them. They have the shade, they have the water. When there's too much water, the baobab absorbs. There's not enough water, the baobab release. And that is the thing that it does.
That's
And just,
amazing. That's such a miracle.
yeah, yeah. So when I was in Togo and I saw this baobab, I just asked them, I said, do you have baobab shaded places? Baobab shaded to a coffee field? They say, well, we only have that because there's so many baobab. They just grow everywhere because when the baobab fall, the branch on the ground become roots and the branch up become trees. So they just left them and there's baobab absolutely everywhere. So this is fantastic how you can do all those kind of things, and by discovering a country and everything, discovering other culture, you can actually help someone else's culture in another country or continent. So it's good
Absolutely.
to share. Yeah, so it's good to share all those knowledge because we have more and more weather challenges. And keeping this to ourselves is not good for anyone. And it needs to be raise your point to so for me. And altogether is the only way we can make sure that the coffee does not stop in 50 years. So this is things very important, culture of coffee on the baobab, shaded by baobab. Didn't know that, and I was saying to people in Togo, I said you have to say that shaded by baobab, the baobab lot, and just beautiful robusta shaded by baobab. And for them, it's so natural, so they don't see the exotism of it. But I think it's just affects the things of marketing. But just do this. Just put it shaded by baobab, baobab shaded
It would
tea.
be big.
So
I know.
weather challenge, yeah, yeah. Could you imagine? So weather challenge has a lot, different kind of cultures has a lot, and those cultures are influenced by all those weather challenges. So it's very important to understand what everybody is doing, why they are doing it, and how they are doing it, and how this impacts their places. Like for example, when I go to Colombia, I'm not going to tell them to plant baobabs everywhere. Well, there's no baobab. I don't know if there's baobab in Colombia. I've never seen baobab in Colombia, but they have banana trees. But the rain over there is not as strong as Moshi to have banana trees everywhere. And it's actually in Colombia, it started that whole things of putting banana trees everywhere because the government, someone in the government had some bakshish money to plant banana trees everywhere. A complete disaster. So now they say, remove the banana tree, remove the those politicians, they never in the field, but they are the one making the decision for people who are in the field. Ridiculous, mind blowing. So you need to put the things that is right for the coffee trees. And in Colombia, because they try everything and anything and see what bites. They love the experiments. They're very good at it. So they, for example, like to control the water. They do like a barrier of banana tree. So you do not have the banana tree within the coffee, but around to keep some moisture in the soil, but not to swallow all the life out of the tree. So they have all those things they do to control.
Can you hear me? You're freezing. Can you hear me
Yes,
now?
yes.
You're freezing.
Afraid
Okay.
banana tree?
I hear you. Yeah.
Yes,
You,
okay.
you froze for a bit. So I lost you for a second, but now it's on.
Oh, it's done.
There's a lot of rain here.
Okay, so let's hope that in the video everything stays proper. Let's
I
hope
really
that.
hope so too, because I really want to go back to this class.
Oh yeah, it's really not just that the weather channel. I think is something I'm passionate about. Anything in green coffee, I'm passionate about. So because it's so things. But yes, so the weather channel for me is a massive subject, and even when we improve, I really insist on this because there's many solutions all around the world, and don't be afraid just to see other solution. I'm going to send you some documentation, and some is some things in Indonesia. And you just think why something from Southeast Asia can be good, for, if you don't try, you won't know. And they do things that can be good for here with plants that we do have here. Why not try it? And that's a lot of strategies you need.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Exactly, and you need to be open to anything. Mostly now we're moving more and more back to an organic culture, and just to stop the over uh, production and putting all the plants on steroid and everything. Now we finally realize that it's not good. I mean, for centuries we've been doing all those plants with absolutely no bad chemicals. And suddenly, since the 50s, we've been having chickens that are doing like they good to they can compete with Schwarzenegger. I mean, no, we need to stop those kind of things. It's not good because it affects what our body. And having a coffee full of chemicals, I don't want to have this. And that's why I always insist for very organic coffee and everything. And like I do not roast a coffee that I don't know where it's coming from, and it has to be organic. So because I don't want to have those kind of things in my roaster. That is it. I just don't want. So we need to be much more aware of this, and without challenges, we all without challenges. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's. So we need to deal with this, and we need to know what to do, when to do, and if we don't, we need to see who does. We need to find it in a way or another. So
Yeah.
weather challenges, we have a lot of things between the frost in Brazil, the snow. It was in 2 years and a half ago in Mexico when they have an El Nino movement moment. It was during in 2020, and it was like 35, 40 degrees in Mexico. And the next day it was -10 and it snowed. There was one day of snow
That's
in the middle of
crazy.
nowhere. Yeah, and the next day, well, the temperature went back to 25. But the thing is, because it was during the picking season, people just lost everything. One day of snow in the middle of a big heat. It was incredible. And unfortunately, people didn't really talk about it, obviously, because it's not big Brazil. It's Mexico. So
That's a
also,
fact.
yeah, it's Mexico. We don't care. It's Brazil. Whoa, 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 whoa. Brazil. We touch into the auctions. We touch into the sea market. So that's the moment you just say both of them are valuable. At the end of the day, Mexican coffee is not Brazilian coffee. That is it. And Mexico's been having coffee for more than a century, longer actually than Brazil. It would be great if we can keep it longer. That's it. That was my little ranting.
Yeah, it is
So yes,
really actually true.
yeah. So yes, we're going to help small country just to say no. We have to stay. Yes. So another weather challenge when you have the moldy beans, yes, cherries. And this is generally when you're going to have too much shade, too much humidity. And as you can see here, the cherry are molded. When you look at them, they just molded. And that it can be to silver frost, it can be CBD, it can be. So this one, it was severe frost. It was in Togo, not in Togo, in Burundi, in Ngozi, and this was Embu in Kenya, and it was the side of Mount Kenya where it's cooler. So they have a lot of CBD over there. So this is things that happen. Those cherry, obviously, if they end up into your coffee, they're going to be floaters, they're going to be quakers, they're going to give you absolutely nothing. Okay. So that is also something we need to take care of. How the frost work, how the CBD, all those kind of things, those extreme change of temperatures going to affect your coffee. So what can you do to avoid that? An example, in Nepal, in snow, and in Nepal, they have coffee. They don't have coffee in a high where it snows. They have coffee where actually there's less risk of snow. But what they do, they keep the coffee covered in order not to be frozen. So you find all kind of solutions. So and
Right.
to keep the
Right.
tree, yeah, to the tree strong, you use yak manure. because it stays warm into the soil and stops the soil to freeze. So it's also this kind of thing. It's highly challenging when you uh, actually grow coffee in such a cold environment. But if you do it well, you can be successful at it. So this another thing, cellular first, really massive. So this the next part, which is plant management, process, grading system defect. We're going to start doing it by next week. Meanwhile, you're going to have the whole PDF, which I didn't send you, but you're going to have it today. And also you're going to have access to a Google folder where you're going to have a lot of documentation. So please open this folder, download that documentation, print it out. It's going to be very useful for you. And we're going to come back on the coffee farming next week, where we're going to talk about the plant management, the processes, grading system, etc., etc. Next week, when you're going to see each other, I will be in Nevasha. And so yes, every Monday I will be either in Nevasha or in Kissy somewhere, and on the Thursday I will be in my place here. So that's
No
why I
worries.
don't have,
Thank you.
because I was in my bedroom and I said, well, it was the only place I could have quiet. So it's not very cool. It doesn't look serious, but here now I'm in a place, so that is okay. So yes, like this, you're going to have all this. Okay, so we're going to start next week the farming, which will be a bit much more complex and everything, and the processing that we're going to do. That will be also, I think we're going to do processing on Thursday, and on Monday we're going to do the plant management. Following week, grading system. I like to do it little by little. That leaves us the time to go point by point on everything. And whatever question you're going to get in the what is it, exam, you will be able to answer the question. So if I follow
Yeah, please send them over.
and then yes, if I follow the curriculum, well, I will go very fast on everything, and it will not be an interesting course, and you will not learn that much. But because we don't need to, there's so many things to say just in intermediate that you need to keep people interested. And things you're going to see when you're going to be fully ASC is green coffee is the least popular uh, is the least popular module, because people, they see the green coffee on Instagram and say, wow. But when you start the course and people see that you're talking about agriculture, and you can see their faces crumbling, and they say, wow, it has nothing to do with the Instagram picture. And I say, no, it's actually better than the Instagram picture, because you need to live it. So
I know.
yeah,
It's
exactly,
really,
it's
I really,
better.
it's
So
really
that's
important
why,
for me though. Like,
yeah, I love to do this. Yeah. So I love to do the course when I'm actually at origin by the farm and everything. That's good. So people see the thing and they're much more interested by this course. But I put some fields and everything, but unfortunately with travel and everything, it's not easy for everybody to travel to a coffee farm. But the thing is, when you have like you access to the coffee farm with all the things you're going to learn, and the fact we're taking our time to learn them well, when you go to the farm, everything is going to come back to you and say, okay, here I can improve, there I can help, there I can support, this I can
absolutely.
learn.
Yes,
And
yes.
see, is this. And I want to show people how fantastic is this course, because everybody wants to do roasting, okay? But every time I say, well, you're going to roast the green coffee, so you may as well to know what it is, and also you're going to cup it, so maybe you should do sensory too. Yeah, yeah. But no, people want the shortcut. but not with me. Not with
I
me.
know, I know. I really, so you know that I took roasting courses as well, up to like intermediate level, and I'm like, I just want to get, a bit of everything. At least get I've finished barista courses up to professional. I've done roasting. I've done sensory. I've done Q grading. I've done so like that. Let me just get this as well. At least it's so important to me, but as well as because I get to interact a lot with farmers, it can also be very, very helpful for them.
Mhm. No, but you're going to see how your knowledge as an ASC is going to be broadened. I know it's very hard to say to people, oh yes, do like me, do all the module and teach all the module. Well, the reason that at the beginning, the ASC with all the module, we used to be, I think, 50, and now we're something like 15. And I think I'm one of the rare one which has actually two full programs because I have the full sustainability and the CSP. Uh, it's a lot of work to teach. It's a lot of work to have for equipment. It's quite expensive, and they sure it makes your course richer, but at the same time it makes you broke. But you
I
do it,
know,
and
I
now,
know.
yeah, and now I'm starting ESTA, European Tea Association. So I'm starting also the tea because it's something I wanted to do for so many years, and it's just, oh God, it's another thing in my curriculum. But after you think in Africa, there's not that many people who have access to this. So who can, if I can do something and I say, okay, my little money, I'm going to teach this and teach that and teach this and teach this, then I can teach others because I know they can't afford it, and we cannot have someone coming from Europe and going to cost a fortune to do it. So if I can do it at a reasonable price, which I do, why not? Why not? It really takes me way longer to go back in my finances, but the satisfaction, oh my God, is there, way higher.
I know that's how I feel as well.
It's where I love teaching, and if I can teach other people, oh God, that is something. That is something. I always wanted to do since little. So yeah. So here we are. This is my blah blah blah.
No, thank you
Next
so
week
much for sharing.
we
I really appreciate it.
oh, thank you. So next week we're going to do two other things. So I think in Nevasha, I will be in Nevasha. I don't remember, but we'll see. And next week we will be there. So we're going to do processing and plant management, which is great plant management. And I think and after the following week, grading system and defect. So because you're very at the farm, you're going to see, I'm sure, I hope you're going to have a lot of questions, lots of things you're going to share, and it's going to be very important. So you're going to have the course in advance and you're going to read it. And after next week, we're going to have a lot of questions. So you will have things in advance, and you will see there's little films I'm going to show you that are in the video of the PDF. So you're going to see that. So like this is going to be really wide eye opener for next week, and hopefully you're going to share some experience with me and say, oh yes, but that's so that and whatsoever. So let's see. Okay.
Absolutely. I look forward to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.